Have you ever felt your mind suddenly freeze when you try to speak English, even though you know the words? It is a common feeling, and honestly, it can be frustrating when your thoughts race ahead but your mouth just cannot keep up. My name is Michael, and I have been where you are. Today I want to share some ideas and stories about speaking English fluently, especially about how to keep going without long, awkward pauses. Together, we will explore how to improve your English speaking skills and feel more natural when you talk. Imagine you are having a conversation, and the words just flow out smoothly, one after another, without those uncomfortable silences. You feel relaxed, confident, and people listen to you with interest. That is the feeling many English learners dream of, and it is possible for you too. The journey to speaking fluently without pausing starts with understanding why we hesitate and what we can do about it. Let us take the first step together. When we talk about fluency, many people think it means speaking fast or using complicated words. But real fluency is about being able to express yourself clearly at a natural pace and without long pauses that break the flow. It is about having a conversation that feels comfortable, not rushed, and where you feel confident sharing your ideas. For many learners, the biggest challenge is not knowing what to say, but how to keep talking when you are searching for the right word, or when you are unsure of grammar. Those small moments of hesitation can make you feel stuck or embarrassed, and sometimes they even stop you from joining conversations. The good news is you can learn strategies to keep going, even when you are not sure of every word. By practicing certain techniques and changing the way you think about mistakes, you can become a more fluent, relaxed speaker. Today we will look at these strategies, hear a story about someone who overcame this challenge, and discover practical steps you can use right away. Let me tell you about a friend of mine, Anna, who moved to London a few years ago. Anna grew up in a small town in Poland and studied English at school, but she rarely had the chance to use it in real conversations. When she arrived in London, she was excited and nervous. The city was full of people from all over the world, and English was the language everyone used to connect. On her first day at work, Anna joined her new colleagues for lunch. She listened carefully, trying to understand every word, but when someone asked her a question, she froze. She knew the answer in her mind, but her mouth would not cooperate. She hesitated, searching for the right words, and the silence felt heavy. Her colleagues smiled kindly, but Anna felt embarrassed and frustrated. That evening, Anna called her mother and said, "I know what I want to say, but I just cannot say it fast enough. I stop, I think, and then everyone is waiting for me." Her mother listened, then reminded her that learning a language is not just about vocabulary or grammar, it is about practice and confidence. Anna decided she would not give up. The next day, she tried a new approach. Instead of focusing on every single word, she listened for the main ideas and responded with simple sentences, even if they were not perfect. Anna's experience highlights something important about learning to speak English fluently. It is not about being perfect, but about being able to keep the conversation going, even when you are unsure. Many English learners worry about making mistakes or not knowing the exact word, so they pause, hesitate, or even stop talking. This is completely understandable, but it can make conversations feel stressful. The truth is, native speakers often do not speak perfectly either. They use fillers, repeat themselves, and sometimes forget words. The difference is, they have learned how to keep talking naturally, even when they are thinking. This ability is called communication strategies. These are the small tricks and habits that help you fill the gaps, explain your ideas, and stay relaxed when you are searching for words. For example, using simple fillers like or let me see, gives your brain a little extra time to think without creating an awkward silence. Describing a word you do not know or using gestures helps keep your message clear. Another important insight is that fluency is a skill you build over time, not a talent you are born with. The more you practice speaking, especially in real situations, the easier it becomes to keep going, even when you feel nervous. Accepting that you will make mistakes and learning to laugh at them can take away a lot of the pressure. Remember, your goal is not to sound like a native speaker, but to communicate your ideas clearly and confidently. When you focus on expressing yourself, instead of being perfect, you open the door to more natural and enjoyable conversations. So the real secret to speaking English fluently without pausing is to practice these strategies, accept mistakes as part of learning, and keep going, even when it feels difficult. Another key insight is the power of mindset in language learning. Anna's success was not just due to practicing set phrases or storytelling techniques. It was her willingness to reframe her thinking about pauses and mistakes. Instead of viewing hesitation as a sign of weakness, she began to see it as a natural part of communication. This shift allowed her to participate more fully in conversations and to take risks that ultimately led to greater fluency. In fact, research in language acquisition supports this idea. Learners who are comfortable with ambiguity and uncertainty tend to progress faster because they are less afraid to speak and more open to feedback. Moreover, Anna's story illustrates that fluency is not a straight line. There are good days and bad days, moments when you feel unstoppable, and others when you struggle to find even simple words. The important thing is to keep going, to celebrate progress, and to remember that every conversation is practice. Over time, the moments of hesitation will become less frequent, and your confidence will grow. Anna's example teaches us that the journey to fluency is as much about building resilience and self-belief as it is about learning vocabulary or grammar. Now let us look at some practical steps you can take to speak English more fluently without long pauses. First, practice using fillers and set phrases. These are natural expressions that native speakers use when they are thinking. Try saying phrases like, "Let me think for a moment, that is an interesting question," or, "Well, I am not sure, but." These little phrases give you time to organize your thoughts and show the listener that you are still engaged in the conversation. Next, practice describing words or ideas when you forget the exact term. For example, if you cannot remember the word umbrella, you can say, "It is something you use when it rains to stay dry." This skill is called paraphrasing, and it is very useful for keeping conversations going. Another helpful technique is to practice speaking about familiar topics for a set amount of time. Choose a subject, set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes, and try to talk without stopping. Do not worry about mistakes or perfect grammar, just focus on expressing your ideas. This exercise helps your brain get used to thinking and speaking at the same time. You can do this alone, with a friend, or even by recording yourself. Listening back can help you notice where you pause and what phrases you can use to fill those gaps. Also, try to listen to real conversations, such as podcasts, interviews, or television shows. Pay attention to how native speakers use fillers, repeat themselves, and handle moments when they do not know exactly what to say. You will notice that everyone, even fluent speakers, uses these strategies. Practice using these techniques in real conversations whenever you can. Join a language group, find a speaking partner, or even talk to yourself in English while doing daily activities. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Finally, change the way you think about mistakes. Instead of seeing them as failures, treat them as opportunities to learn. Every time you make a mistake, you are pushing yourself to try new things and improve. Remember, the goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. Over time, your confidence will grow, and you will find that the pauses become shorter and less frequent. Speaking English fluently is a journey, and every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. Keep practicing these strategies, stay patient with yourself, and celebrate your progress along the way. Let's break these lessons down even further with some actionable tips inspired by Anna's journey. 1. Role-play real situations. Think about the conversations you might have at work, at a party, or in a shop. Practice these scenarios with a friend or by yourself. For example, imagine you are ordering coffee or making small talk at an event. The more you simulate real conversations, the less likely you are to freeze when those situations happen for real. 2. Keep a gap filler list. Write down common fillers and set phrases that can buy you time when you need to think. Review and practice them until they feel natural. Examples include, "Let me see, how can I say this? What I'm trying to say is, that's a good point, and I haven't thought about that before." 3. Learn to paraphrase and use synonyms. When you cannot recall a specific word, try to explain it in a different way or use a similar word. This keeps the conversation going and often leads to new vocabulary learning. 4. Record and reflect. Use your phone or computer to record yourself speaking about a topic. Listen for places where you pause or lose your train of thought. Then, plan and practice what you could say instead. This builds self-awareness and helps you prepare for future conversations. 5. Practice active listening. The better you understand what others are saying, the easier it is to respond naturally. Listen for main ideas, not just individual words. Respond to what you understand, and do not be afraid to ask for clarification if needed. This keeps the conversation moving and shows you are engaged. 6. Join group activities. Storytelling clubs, book groups, or discussion circles are great places to practice speaking in a supportive environment. You will hear a variety of speaking styles, get feedback, and build confidence. 7. Reflect on your progress. After every conversation, take a few moments to think about what went well and what you could improve. Celebrate the times you pushed through a pause or used a new strategy. This positive reinforcement will motivate you to keep going. Most importantly, remember that fluency is about connection. People are interested in your ideas, your stories, and your perspective. The small pauses and mistakes are just part of the process. If you focus on sharing and connecting, rather than perfection, your English will become more natural and enjoyable every day. The most important thing to remember is that fluency is about communication, not perfection. Every speaker, no matter their level, sometimes hesitates or forgets a word. The difference is in how they handle those moments. By using fillers, describing ideas, and practicing speaking, you can keep conversations flowing and feel more confident. Do not be afraid of making mistakes or sounding less than perfect. Each time you push through a pause, you are building your skills and getting closer to natural, fluent English. Trust yourself and enjoy the process of learning. If you ever find yourself stuck, remember Anna's story and the lessons she learned. See pauses not as a sign of failure, but as stepping stones to greater confidence. Every conversation is a chance to practice, learn, and grow. The more you put yourself out there, the easier it becomes. You will not only improve your English, but you will also open yourself up to new friendships, experiences, and opportunities. Embrace the journey, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every small victory along the way. Speaking English fluently, without long pauses, is not a dream that is out of reach. With practice, patience, and the right techniques, you can become more confident and comfortable in any conversation. Remember Anna's story and remind yourself that every great English speaker started as a learner, just like you. Take these strategies, use them in your daily life, and watch your skills grow. You have everything you need to succeed. Thanks for listening and joining me, Michael, on this journey to more fluent English. Keep practicing, stay positive, and see you next time.